team that they're facing. Once again, this is the first time that these two teams are meeting against each other. This is going to be the community first seed of the second week that we've played up against Kingdom Esports, a team that has so much high expectations with pro players, current and ex alike. And this is not where you want to be. Going into the draft, immediately batting out the Chip, Alice, and Jusin on the side of Kings. For Kingdom, it's going to be the CC, Fanny, and Angela getting taken out. Immediately snap picking the Boxer for themselves. They know the Fanny is going to be Yahiko's true, pride and joy. Is why you want to take that off the batting tables for him.
But one thing's for sure is that we did see a game where Yahiko didn't play the Boxer. So it is still very up in the open for the Boxer to be flexed either to the roam, XP, or the jungle. It's an either-or situation. So we can't exactly just look at the Boxer, that's a jungle kind of situation. It's still widely open. As such, there should be some ambiguity involved. As such, having a mage and a gold lane pick is actually pretty darn important, even though that pretty much exposes your win condition. That still gives you a control of how you want to draft in your second phase of the pick ban phase.
Immediately, right off the bat, a lot of high rotation speed coming in from KSG. You got a Farsa, you got a Daxia immediately in within the jungles. You got a Franco as well, so they're locking it in for the side of Iron Ryan. You want to challenge Lolzy into this one. You still got the Rock in question. You might be able to pick that up, but I don't know if... okay, so Gato is already solidified by Kingdom. There's still the Assassins that you might be able to pick up. You got the Yisun Shin if Yon wants to go for that route. If not, the Lance would be a good option for him as well.
So with that all said, we have got the Franco pick. I think the Franco pick is actually okay because most of the time we expected Boxer to go over to the jungle. If they want to last minute kind of turn it around and say, hey, is a Boxer XP, then at least that's still fine. There's still a certain amount of ambiguity from the side of King's lineup, so I'm pretty okay with this. As we move on to look at a Yi Sun Shin pick, so with a Yi Sun Shin pick, we have the probability of seeing a triple marksman composition from KE if they very much want to. Was it them actually?
It was the triple marksman from King Esports. Yeah, it was Moscow.
It was Moscow?
It was Moscow, Sunshin, as well as the Kimmy. But you don't have too many late game marksmans. I think Gran would rather pick up the Granger this time around. If you want to go full triple marksman, if not, try to go for a Ruby for a little bit more extensive defensive capability.
Bruno is fine too.
You still got the option of having the gold lane as well as the roam. Sorry, the XP for the side of Kingdom.
Oh, this is interesting. KE, Icy Frost, and Sam. Okay, in this case, Sammy is not gonna be fooled by the presence of the Boxer. They've seen it once before, and they're just thinking, okay, it's highly likely there's a possibility that Yahiko is more of an assassin player. So why would they draft that Boxer straight over to Yahiko, right? So banning out the Hayabusa, despite the presence of Boxer, I do like the fact that KE is being extra careful about this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think they might just play it safe. If KSG just wants to have an easier game all through and through, then at least go for the Boxer in the jungle. It's easier to match up against the speed that Ishin Shin brings to the table. You're able to be aggressive into the jungles. And matching up with the super fast rotating mid lane trio. You've also got the passive coming in from Franco that gives you additional movement speed. So I'm not too worried about that one. Go a little bit more on the traditional route. Right now, I think the Granger is wide and open for Bong's taking. He had played that to a very good extent in earlier games today. They are getting banned out, so you want the XP of KSG to have an easier time.
Right now, they're just lacking of the mid laner and the gold lane. So I think it makes sense for them to kind of secure the mid laner first, just so that they have the final call, the last call as to what is the gold laner they're going to fight. And thus being able to have a more, I would say, a better counter pick versus Kings. So at this point in time, is very front to back, right? Completely front to back. So with the majors that they have in store for them, I think that there is still possibilities for them to want to play the Lunox. Very good for survivability when it comes down to brilliance, and of course, a very good way to shred these tanky front lines such as the Boxer as well as the Franco. I do like that a lot. Or they can also go for not thinking of that.
Yeah, interesting.
But
interesting
it
pick.
works.
So if they're forcing KSG to go into the position where the Joy is picked up, if the Joy is picked up, then the Bane makes a lot of sense. But you know, it's quite difficult because once the Boxer comes into the picture, Bane needs a lot of time to come online. The power spike really comes through when the Holy Crystal is built up. So unless the green crystal is in possession, in Grant's possession, then I don't think KSG is worried too much. That is pretty much the mid to late game kind of a role that they want to play. With the way that I think the aggressiveness that Kings wants to bring to the table with their own draft, you got the Granger Galapu, which is a very good solidification right there with your draft. A very traditional front to back. It's super aggressive, high rotating, and everyone knows their place.
Okay, so it looks like this is indeed gonna be a Baksa game from Yahiko. And of course, when it comes down to the rest, we pretty much know where they are going and who is gonna be playing what. Iron Ryan so far, we haven't really seen Iron Ryan play on the Franco before, so I'm definitely gonna be looking out for that, right? Aside from that, I think the Bong on the Granger is completely fine. Lapu, good picks, also on and so forth. But the final pick is probably what I want to look out for, right? Valentina is pretty okay. You can still steal away.
X-Borg.
Oh right, sorry, they have a Kimi. What am I talking about?
Yeah. So double fighter side lanes. Well, Bane is not exactly a. Well, he is a fighter slash mage kind of thing, octopus thingy. But you know, coming off of Davy Jones' luck to pull out the X-Borg, I think it's a answer towards the bloody hunt that Iron Ryan will bring out. Once the Firaga armor pops, that's a little iframes that X-Borg can use to get away safe. So you want to be able to taunt out the bloody hunt and the suppression so that they can just gun everyone down from the back. So both these two teams, honestly, their draft is looking pretty solid. I'm favoring more towards Kings SG side just because they have the roaming trio, or you know, mid lane trio that has a lot of rotational speed that is able to manage that early game. But if they pass the 12-minute mark, I think Kingdom Esports might have a better shot at winning. The Bane just does a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, I think that Kings SG have got a way easier draft to execute, right? They do have got. I think it's really just boiling down to timing play. Baxia is a hero that can really invade the opponents pretty and very effectively. So if they realizes that, hey, look, we are definitely winning in lanes, or rather, we're definitely winning in mid. We are able to just gain access to the opponent's jungle. We can steal some information, and in the meantime, steal Ricky as well. Why not?
We're slowing it down because Kings have something up their sleeves. You see that Franco's up on that top side. They wanted to go for an easy kill. Right now, Lawsy knows that Franco's not in the picture, so he wants to go for the aggressive. You got the Wings by Wings already used up by Ryzen to get in position, but now there's a 3-man engaged. A lot of damage onto Iron Ryan. Now, they touch and they go. Very big resources already used up by Ryzen and Iron Ryan. The Wings by Wings actually from Ryzen was a little bit not intuitive for me because he uses the Wings by Wings just to get in reposition and immediately gets stunned up by FMM.
So, continuing on forward, I will say that so far, Kingdom Esports, they do have a very aggressive start, albeit not exactly able to allow them to get early game kills, but hey, so far, still so good. They manages to show themselves, or rather show the opponents, hey, look, we can play very aggressive. You have a boxer, you have the timing, we can out-time you too.
I think that also One Boy Reborn is going to have a difficult time against Insanity because the Lapu is not going to hold himself well against this true damage coming in from the X-Borg. Pretty much a substitute for a CC.
Mage Bane, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a Mage Bane as well. We see the Impure Rage already built up. There's going to be the Magic Wand coming in. That's the Mountain Shocker. Iron Ryan goes down. Yahiko next on the chopping block, and Lawsy's just pushing the situation a little bit too much. Yahiko tries to heal everything back up. Might be able to go through no last insanity from Drinsanity, and maybe that's apt to his name.
So at this point, 0-1, Turtle going to Yawn. Kingdom Esports have got a pretty good start right off the bat. Small little fight down in the bottom lane, but that's not gonna do anything for either one of them. It's really just a wet noodle fight at this point in time. They're looking for more opportunities in middle.
Oh, again, Ryzen gets immediately bursted down. Yawn's over there as well. It's a 3-on-2, always matching up that tempo and speed that Kings wants to bring. And it boggles my mind because Kingdom Esports should technically be slightly slower in terms of rotation. And it should be in a reactive kind of situation rather than Kings. But Lozy's going on the aggressive, getting pulled back by Iron Ryan. Still no level 4, still no suppression. But here comes the rest of the team. The AOG keeps him up and alive. But the bravest fighter comes in from the side flank. Yahiko immediately bursting Yawn down. There's one more hit. It's Lozy!
Damn!
Stays alive in the end.
Still only a sliver of health on the side of Lozy. Literally surviving just by a sliver. That's kind of scary. That wasn't a very necessary flicker, Grant, but hey, whatever it is.
Yeah, but honestly though, for the airstrike coming onto Grant, low damage, suppression onto underneath the turret, taking that Bane out of the picture.
Yep, so that is going to be a very aggressive plays from Kings SG. They are just trying to get themselves all across the map at this point in time to snag some more farm here and there. They managed to kind of funnel it to the right person, technically Bong with 1 kill. I think that that's pretty okay. Yahiko with 1, I think that they are on a pretty good road.
Taking a look at itemizations. Already this Ranger, 3 minutes on the clock, has his first item, Power Spike. Immediately this Bane going for the Holy Crystal.
He's running for it. Just running straight for it.
Again, FMM gets caught out. Iron Ryan going fishing. He's missed not a lot of hooks that I can count though. He's making it count.
I didn't quite understand that one. So that doesn't mean that he hits a lot of hooks.
So far I would say he's hitting the
Like
right
50,
hooks
50?
at the right times.
Okay.
You're calling me out on that one.
Very political answer. But either way, we gotta fight here.
You got Yahiko taking down the turret, Lozy down low, Traction Pulse will not hit onto anyone. That's the AOG into the midst of battle. Bong in harm's way. That's him getting taken out. Lozy will pick up the kill for that. We'll take credit for that kill as Jinsani tries to pull everyone back out of the way. Yahiko takes the purple buff away, and Bong is still safe and well, matching up the space that Grant wants to bring to the table. That's a Holy Crystal, and that's a big power spike from this Bane.
Yep. As such, it does seem like Kings SG, they're going to respond real quickly.
He's hitting the right hooks at the right time. What am I telling you?
Politically correct, right? The Magic Crystal, or rather the Holy Crystal, is not going to get him too far for now. He's still got quite some ways to go. First item immediately popped right out. He still needs a couple of boots because that way he will be getting out of the barrel. Because it's like shooting fish in a barrel, at least for the side of Iron Ryan.
Taking the look at the itemizations right here. You got the Bane already immediately built up the Holy Crystal in 5-minute mark. That's going to start that rotation going. Kingdom Esports wants to utilize this Bane a little bit more in team fight. So very apt that the turtle is spawning up on that top side in next 50 seconds. As King SG needs to be able to find a way to deal and handle with that Bane to make it a non-factor in the late game.
So moving on forward, do you think that there will be a lot more opportunities for Kingdom Esports because they actually do have pretty good answers to a couple of problems that is posed from Kings to Kingdom, right? One of the main things that we look out for is always going to be the Feathered Airstrike. Do they have an answer to it? Well, generally having the Sharks will always help them relocate that faster. Otherwise, he's just going to eat the entire thing.
We're slowing things down 10 seconds until the next turtle of the game spawns up. This is going to be the last turtle until the Lord actually comes into fruition. It's Kings SG desperately trying to push them away from the turtle pit, but it's still a stalemate at this point. The Kings and the Kingdom are actually quite even this time around.
It's quite literally, well, teetering on a breaking point right now. Literally, you just have to make the wrong bend and it will implode. As much as implosion.
Bravest fighter onto Yawn, able to get that retribution, get out of the harm's way. The deadly catch will not be enough. Grant gets taken out. Yahiko protecting in that back line as Bunboy Reborn is one man against the world, unable to secure that kill for themselves. Drinsanity takes in the last Drinsanity for himself, but able to get out safe with the help of Lowe's. But here comes Yawn for that cleanup.
With Drinsanity picking up a 2-kill lead for himself and also picked up the War Axe as well. With 2 kills over to Drinsanity, I think that so far Drinsanity didn't really have a lot of impact, but in this game, it seems like he's getting himself out there.
Oh, that's a Mountain Shocker directly onto the face of Bong, almost taking him out, but a core resource already utilized.
Well, that is a double movement spell from Bong, both the flicker as well as the single dash. Grant makes his way all the way down to the bottom lane. I think that he did manage to take a little bit small chunk away from the T1 turret, but so far none of these teams have managed to take any of these turrets just yet. But I think that this is eventually kind of thing.
It's a taunt onto Yahiko. Grant does not have the damage now. They're gonna back off as Kings are finding their way towards that bottom side. Wherever Grant is, they need to be able to find a way to control him. 50 seconds until the Lord spawns up. What is Kingdom's play? They have the upper hand. They have 2,000 gold lead, but how do they extend it?
I think that at this point in time, to extend it, they just gotta have to play a little bit more aggressive. They do have a lineup that really allows them to pop off in the mid stages of the game. So I think right now, just don't be too afraid per se. And of course, identify it faster.
Wind's Crown already used up, but aside of Iron Ryan, getting pulled back by Drinsanity, but won't be enough. The hook doesn't land when it counts and matters the most. But Yahiko still busy cleaning up that wave, trying to match the tempo that Yawn brings to the table.
Speaking of tempo, I think that there's a lot more tempo that Kingdom Esports could do. But in the meantime, the bottom lane.
Great AOG into the flicker hook. Bong gets taken out, but Kingdom Esports, they got what they came for. Grant just free hitting on the backside. It's not enough damage as Yawn tries to find a flank. The deadly catch will be released once again. The shark bait will not be able to be enough damage to take any more down, but they got what they came for. They took out the marksman and they have their eyes set on that Lord.
A small little inch to victory, because one of the other ways that they can inch closer to a wide amount of gold gap gotta have to be these objective plays. Because we're currently 9 minutes in, and the only objective that we saw is the standing objective rather, is down in the bottom lane. Only a single T1. They haven't gotten anything in the top lane, they haven't gotten anything in the middle lane. Technically speaking, they don't have a player or a hero that can do a lot of cross-map plays. In the meantime, Kings SG, they have Yahiko that is playing as the Boxia. He can respond a lot faster. So Kingdom Esports, they can always look for a strategy to either number one, catch on the Yahiko, or overwhelm Yahiko in some of these turret takedowns.
The early game potential that Kings SG wants to bring with the mid lane trio, the rotating mid lane trio, is already long gone. It's 10 minutes on the clock. Yawn almost hitting his level 15. The Lord marches down on the bottom side, able to get that chunk down. Bong needs to keep himself safe. I think he has a huge red target on his back, and Kingdom Esports wants to try to isolate him.
So now with all of the T1 turret taken down, this is more than enough control for Kingdom Esports to be able to make full use of all of these waves that kind of move past the lanes, or rather move past the jungle. Heroes such as Yawn and as well as Grant, they're going to be able to make full use of all of these real estate to hyper farm themselves up. But then, of course, the question kind of remains, who is the pause one? In this case, I still kind of put it onto the Yusunshin, being the jungler and being the one that have got very good mobility. Generally, give it all over to Yawn. Grunt will eventually get the farm that he needs as more of an insurance policy later on.
Yeah, it's very late game. It's sort of like a double mage that Kingdom Esports has. If they get a little bit too close and try to force a skirmish, I think they can just easily use the daily cash to get out of the way. And also, as a teamfight disruption mechanic coming in from Kingdom Esports, taking a look at the itemizations, it does look like the Ranger is easier, finds it much easier to build on those 3 core items. But then for the side of Bane, he's only got a Holy Crystal and he's got the Blood Wings, so he's got a little bit more defensive. Gotten a little bit more defensive now. He's looking to build a little bit more magic penetration that creates so much more oomph to his hits. You got a Mountain Shocker just to give a little bit more vision. But what is your thoughts on this, and how can Kings come back into this game?
At this point in time, Kings, they need to possibly set up a trap, right? One of the main things that really works for them is that they have got Ryzen, right? Being the artillery mage can deal a huge chunk of damage over to the front lines. But other than that, they don't have very good ways to actually chunk down the front lines in a form of shred. So other than just going for front to back, they need to be able to snipe down the back lines, because that is 2 marksmen on the side of Kingdom, and Grant is a glass cannon. So as long as the Feathered Airstrike is able to land all 4 strikes onto crucial heroes, she's just gonna be a bruiser. And this gives up a lot of spot for Bong.
Great taunt and stop. Yahiko gets taken down by the hands of Yon. They're pushing the situation a little bit more. That's the bravest fighter already utilized in Kingdom Esports. They're all fine and dandy, strong and healthy, making a beeline towards that Lord. No contest from Kings.
They're gonna have to start throwing bodies for Kings SG. They are at 6.4 thousand gold deficit, so maybe actually not, because the gold deficit is a little bit too big. So the only other ways that I can realistically suggest to Kings SG is to wait to the point that Yahiko is finally able to get level 15. So some of these lanes, all of these allocations should still go over to Yahiko, just so that he gets level 15, having the ability to steal Lord for a potential comeback play. Bong and Ryzen can eventually get their items as the time slowly counts down, but EXP is really important.
A fat wave marching down the bottom side. Lord taking control of the top. That's a charge onto the turret. Insanity holding on to the last Insanity as the Feathered Airstrike tries to zone everyone out of the way. Karen Ryan takes so much damage from that deadly catch alone. Man, oh man, this is Kingdom Esports showing up in the late game. Score is 6-9. There's not too much. It's Bong! Almost barely making it out. What is this game?
Well, in the meantime, the top lane turret, it seems like it's going down to a all-time low as well. While in the meantime, Bunboy Reborn does whatever they can.
That's a spit from Grant to seal the deal onto that Lapu Lapu.
Oh.
Ryzen able to use that Wings by Wings to fly all the way out. The deadly catch is starting to hurt, and Kingdom Esports waiting for the minions to come through. But, you know, the damage is done. Kings SG really... They were unable to control this Bane. He's scaled out of control, and he's got his core items, and this makes him such a big threat.
I think the main thing is they lack a solid control from the anchor, being Iron Ryan as a Franco. It needs to really tag on to Ryzen and keep Ryzen safe from anything aside from the Shark. Because Shark, you can't do anything about a Shark as a Pharsa. Pharsa can't just throw out ultimates when people are not within her range. And I think that that's actually a very difficult thing to do, but unfortunately unfortunately Ryzen really needs to take a little bit of a risk in order to repel people out of their base. He needs to bruise the important players from Kingdom Esports or use it to wave clear, as a matter of fact. So far, I've seen a lot of those Feathered Airstrikes which have got zero value because people are just outside of the zone or puts into Feathered Airstrike and then immediately wings by wings out.
I echo you. It's sort of like this Burst Pharsa just suddenly became a utility Pharsa, and you're using the Feathered Airstrike sort of like a real manipulation, try to pull just everyone and push everyone out of the way.
Yeah, just fully zone. You don't put out any artilleries. I'm not a very big fan of that because you can dish out a lot of damage within a very short amount of time. As compared to a real-world manipulation, it's a long-term control effect, so they have very different usage, albeit it kind of seems similar, but you don't burst with RWM, but you do burst with Feathered Airstrike.
Lord spawning up. We've got Kings SG unable to find their footing into the jungle.
As now, Kingdom Esports, they're putting themselves right into the face of the Lord, with the Lord already blitzing down to half HP. It does seem as though Kings SG wants to go for a little bit something, but Yahiko is one level different from Yon. It is still a point that they can try, because they already have the top lane and the middle lane inhibitor turret taken down. They gotta have to try something right here, right now, especially since it's just a tap bit to level 15.
Oh, it's a little bit too slow. Bumble Reborn right too deep into enemy territory, gets slain down by Yon as the AOG tries to block up all escapes, but the last Insanity burns them all to smithereens as they're trying to run away from Insanity. Might not be able to lose his life, gets pulled back into the fray. That's a Winter Crown. Yahiko will take the kill onto Grand. That's a big kill, but he lost that. Lord is marching down the mid side. Now without Bunboy Reborn, they might not be able to defend against this. Another one onto Yahiko.
So with two of the frontliners down from the side of King SG, is gonna be left with a single anchor player, and that is Iron Ryan that will always be sticking next to Ryzen and Bong. Nothing that they can do about this, but to try to clear as much as they can.
Oh, the throne is being targeted. Yon has had enough. That's game number 1 over to the Kingdom.
Seems like a game that is fairly on the easier side for Kingdom Esports.
Pretty dominant through the mid to late game.
Yeah.
They knew their power spikes. They played it to the T. Grant, unfortunately, in the last second, lost his life, but he's got a huge target on his back. They knew the gameplay, but they weren't able. Kings knew the gameplay, but they weren't able to execute it through the entirety of this game.
Useless. And we have seen great plays from Ryzen, except from this one.
Yeah, huge MVP, the MVP of the game. Huge plays by Lawsy using AOG, specifically just to zone and catch some of his opponents, specifically Bong and Ryzen out of control. And that's why I think the Farsa pick into the Gacha just really made it so hard for Kings SG to find their footing. Even though the Fred Airstrike was used within the jungle, the jungles for a little bit more of a skirmish and team fight. To force the situation into a undesirable form for Kingdom. But Losey was just always there. 219, almost a perfect game for this sacrificial roam. And I won't call him sacrificial anymore. This game, he felt like a leader. He felt like a really strong shot caller. He was protecting Grant. And yes, even though Grant had a really shaky start in the early game, he really made it through to the late game. And he showed that he is one of the better goal laners in this matchup.
Ultimately, I definitely will agree that Ryzen's role is super difficult, right? You have two natural counters over to the opposite side, and on average, you probably will only be able to shoot out 2 artilleries. So that is already kind of undershooting, two artillery strikes, or maybe just 1. But so far, I think that we have seen most of the AOGs onto the main battles just to disrupt the flow of the battle, not necessarily to disrupt Ryzen on the Feathered Airstrike, because I think that they have actually allocated that role over to Grant, because just throw it out. You don't have to care about anything afterwards.
Yeah, speaking of Grant, one spit and basically his half HP gone, especially for Bunboy Reborn, that is supposed to be a fighter in a tank role and just taking control of the back line. Grant made it so difficult for him to get in kills whatsoever. He was a bit viable in the early game. He made great plays, great rotations away from Jordan Sanity. But at the end of the day, I think the Xborg pick, that pocket pick from Kingdom Esports onto the EXP lane, just really made it difficult for Kings SG to tolerate and to control.
So ultimately, with all of the information statistics combined, so far Yahiko is probably, like one of the most outstanding players of the team. High amount of kill participation, massive amount of damage taken, as well as when it comes to damage dealt, most of these are attributed in the early stages, right? Especially for the XP laner, who generally have got a lot of number one, crowd control, as well as sustainability. I think that Bunboy Reborn is also one of the players that is kind of underperforming in this one. Could have been able to survive a little bit longer and soak up a lot more damage, whilst also dealing good amount of damage altogether.